evening and welcome to episode number 43 of the Sports Blitz. How's everybody tonight? We have me, Doug, as in Dougie Fresh tonight. And we got Robbie on the other side, which is really Rob Dog. Rob Dog, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing great. I'm very much regretting changing my name in this. But you know what? Sometimes you only live once. So sometimes
Gotta go with the flow, man.
You just gotta go with them. I got Dougie Fresh, to my left here on screen. I mean, I gotta do something. I feel like I had to do something. Gotta stay in the game,
Yeah. Hey, listen. These are things that we're kind of developing throughout the episodes that we have, and I think it's really important to kind of put a little edge on things a little bit, and other than that, just kind of have fun because that's what we're here to do. So,
Definitely.
If you've been living in a cave or under a rock, please welcome.
Go back.
Welcome to our show. We are the Sports Blitz.
Yeah.
We're going to be talking about some interesting stuff tonight. And we're just going to go right in, man. And the first topic we're going to talk about is a sport that's near and dear to Rob Dog's heart. Not necessarily mine right now, but Robbie.
It's getting further and further away as time
kind of low on my
goes
totem
along.
pole. I know.
Yeah, this particular league is getting further and further away from my heart as we go along.
I get it. I totally get it. And it's the Major League Baseball. So, Robbie, not that you didn't just give us a first impression of how your feelings are, but
I'm immediately regretting suggesting this topic. I want to point out, like with my name change, I'm immediately regretting suggesting this topic.
Hey, listen, when you texted me this afternoon, I was like, okay, if you want to talk about this, let's talk about it.
I should have just kept my mouth shut.
Right,
I should have just gone right on past it.
Exactly.
Whenever they give me a little glimmer of hope, then it's snatch it right back from me.
So the first question I have is that the latest stuff I heard on the way home from work today, and I was just like, I'm stunned, Rob. I just don't understand what their thoughts are. Do you have any clue whatsoever about what's happening? What's going on? Why is there a stalemate here? Why do we have these things going on right now with back and forth? And, oh, we're not going to give anything, but, oh, yeah, here's another thing. And, oh, let's do this negotiating. What's going on, Rob? Talk to me.
I know. Seriously. Somebody needs to talk to me. I'll say this, is that I found it very interesting that basically what looked like a just sort of deaf stalemate, yes, we're two talking heads, exactly. What looks like what basically looked, even just a few days ago, to be sort of like a stalemate, that was just not going any, where the season was basically on the brink of just not happening. All of a sudden, I think it was yesterday, or it was either yesterday or Tuesday. I forget exactly which day it was, but I don't even know what today is. So that sort of goes to show you.
I don't know.
Yeah.
No, that'd be Thursday.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But apparently Rob Manfred, who obviously is the commissioner of baseball, and Tony Clark, who is the head of the MLB Players Union, apparently actually had a sit-down meeting with each other at the request of Manfred, and actually made what we thought, at least at the time, was some significant progress towards having a season. Now, my first reaction to hearing about the sit-down meeting is that why did it take multiple months into this process for them to have this sit-down meeting? Why couldn't you have done this weeks ago? Why couldn't you have done this at the very beginning? I mean, it just doesn't, like with everything else in this, it doesn't make sense to me. And so now, then it was reported that they were close to a deal. Then the owners, I should say, sent a proposal for 60 games with what the players are asking for in terms of money, full prorated salary. Players countered with 70 games, and basically around and around and around we go here. My sort of first thought I get is just why not just settle at 65 and call it a day? I mean, the law of averages here. Why not just meet right in the middle and call it a day? And around, yeah, exactly, around and around. It's like a roller coaster, or like something like that. So uh, it's all frustrating. Um, Listen, as you said, MLB's always been my favorite professional league because baseball has always been my favorite sport. But I'm just at my wits end with them. You've got millionaires and billionaires basically arguing over millions of dollars. I've sort of said my 2 cents in past episodes on how I feel about sort of just the greed that has been involved in this whole issue. Basically, to sum it all up, it's frustrating. It's frustrating, and I'm tired of it. I would much rather watch. I mean, honestly, at this point, I've had enough. Like, I think I'm sick and tired of, just their greed, just, them sort of putting themselves over, and as much as I hate to say it, what they're doing is that basically they are ruining their future 5-10 years down the road by their actions right now. While yes, right now we are in the middle of a health crisis, and I get that, and I get some of the concerns, especially from the players' perspectives of health related reasons. But at the end of the day, all this bickering and greed that's been going on is going to not only hurt the sport right now if they do in fact come back, but it is going to permanently damage the sport of baseball. Not the sport of baseball, but Major League Baseball specifically. And, greedy boys, exactly. And, I don't know I really don't know what else to say other than I'm fed up with it. So.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. I thought that they, as soon as that, Manfred and Clark met, I thought that this was going to be a done deal. You get together, you talk about it. They're talking about today how Manfred's a lawyer too, and he likes to win, and whether he's being a little selfish in that, and get the deal done. That's right. Is exactly what should be. It's just what should be done right now. I'm almost every time sports radio brings it up, I'm kind of just tired of listening to it because it's like the same thing every day. It's over and over and over of we met, and we put a proposal in, and then one side says, well, we're not going to do any more proposals anymore, and then a proposal comes out like 10 minutes later.
I know, that's kind of funny thing is like we're not going to count MLB players are like, we're not going to count it, just tell us the where. And when they have this whole Twitter campaign basically going, somebody made the jokes like, it looks like the company email got, the company memo got out to everybody because they're on this whole Twitter campaign. It's like basically just tell us the where and the when, and tell us where and when. Now all of a sudden, these two, Clark and Manfred, have a meeting, and all of a sudden it's back to like proposal, counter proposal. Now the owners are like fuming over the 70 games, which makes absolutely no sense to me whatsoever. The players are, I don't know. There's no winners in this. I mean, I can't even slide to the side of one side or the other. I mean, I'm totally just fed up with both sides at this point. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, what I think what's kind of sad, Robbie, is that my feeling is that the big losers in this are the fans. Our fans just like you. Our
100%. Yeah,
fans,
100%.
the fans really want baseball. They want something. They want something. They haven't had something and they haven't had anything in 3 months.
I found
Um,
myself watching the restart of Premier League soccer yesterday. That's how desperate I am for live
oh my
sports.
goodness. Well, yesterday they actually had they have on Nesson at night. They have a rivalry week. So last night they had the Yankees and the Red Sox. Big Poppy hitting a big home run. Um, and
The good old day, the good old days.
yeah, the good old days. I mean, it was when fans were in the park and you know it was just a different era. But I think I don't know. I just don't know what to think anymore about this.
Yeah.
I just think that both sides are just not sure if it's greed necessarily, and maybe it is, but it's a bad look. It's a really bad look for
And
everybody.
the problem is, as I was kind of saying earlier, not only are they ruining their chances with sort of the younger, sort of up and coming generations who have had sort of trouble getting sort of getting into the game to begin with, but they're also alienating their core fan base, which is basically what's keeping them afloat at this point. So basically, you are turning away every single segment of people that your league needs for survival. So I don't know why they would want, unless they're just oblivious to that fact. I don't know why they would want to keep this going and just, like I said, not only ruin things for them now, but 5 to 10 years, down the road. It just doesn't, from a future and a marketing point of view. It does not. None of it makes sense. None of it makes any sense to me.
No, but I wanted to ask you a question, Robbie. Do you think the players and the coaches, do you think they're nervous about the COVID thing? I mean, do you think they're nervous about the virus? I think that's
I
you know
mean, some. I mean, so, obviously, I think each individual situation is different. I mean, I think it seems like a lot of the players want to play, which sort of goes to show me that they're not as nervous. The nerves are not affecting their wanting to play. But I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say that nobody is nervous. None of the players or coaches are nervous about it. I'm sure there's a segment, that do have some nerves about it. I mean, everybody has some amount of nerves about it, just in everyday life. I mean, but it seems like the overwhelming majority of players want to get back to work, but they're, at least that's what they're saying. But what they're saying and what they're doing are two completely different things.
exactly. No, I totally agree with you. So this is this is the question I'm going to put out to you. What makes this a deal, Robbie? In your mind, what do you think that they should do? Players, Players Association, and owners. What do you think they should do to get this deal done? You tell me what your thoughts
I mean, the problem is I don't know, because the problem is that, like, you're seeing so many spinning wheels, like, we want this, we want that. It's like it's changing by the day, and so I honestly don't know. The only thing I can tell you for sure is that the players want their full prorated salaries. But guess what? They got that in this round of sort of proposal counter proposal. That's why I kind of said at the beginning, and it's true. Just agree on 65 and let's play ball. Agree on 65 games and let's play ball. Like, this whole, I don't know either. But this whole sort of stickling about exactly how many games they're going to play. That's I think that's the most frustrating part. It's like, just meet right in the middle. Like, if you're like, you're sort of, if anybody knows anything about negotiating, it's sort of one side starts out too low, the other side starts out too high, and you meet somewhere in the middle. Well, guess what? You have a chance right now to meet directly in the middle. One's at 60, one's at 70. Let's put 65. Let's hem up all those other aspects. Let's call it a day. I mean, maybe it's not that simple. I'm looking at it from an outside point of view, but to me, that seems like common sense. Just sort of meet in the middle and let's get on with it. But I don't know.
Right, I've been listening to Lou Merloni in the afternoon, and Lou's great because he used to be a baseball player, professional baseball player.
Framingham's own Lou Merloni.
Framingham's own Lou Merloni, and he says the same thing you just said, which is let's just get this done. Let's just do this already. Let's get it at 65 games. Get it at 67 games. It doesn't matter what the number
67 and a half games.
Exactly.
We're going to play
67
games, and we're going to play 4.5 innings of a.
Right. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Just get it done. That's what everybody's kind of clamoring for right now.
Yeah.
Is the get it done kind
yeah.
of situation, and that totally makes sense. But I don't know. I don't know what's going to do it. I'm hoping in the next couple of days. See, the window of them making a decision is starting to run out.
Oh yeah.
So they have to make a decision fairly soon, so they can do like a whatever mini training camp, and then get back to doing whatever games they need to do. But
right,
it's one of those things where they got to do it soon. They're going to be competing with 2 other sports that are coming back. And speaking of that, great segue into the NBA, the NBA bubble. Let's talk about the NBA bubble in Orlando. Thank you. It was an A+ segue. It was pretty good. The NBA bubble, Robbie.
Yes.
If you were an NBA player, would you go to the bubble?
Yeah, I would. I mean, that's just me personally, and I think my desire, as long as as long as proper precautions are taken, which it seems like they're trying to do, daily testing or whatever the case may be. I gotta say this right up front. When it comes to the bubble issue. I did not think it was humanly possible for me to not stand Kyrie Irving any more than I already did. And yet somehow, some way, he's just made me hate him even more than I did. It is unbelievable. This guy, there are no words to express. It is out of control.
He's out of control.
Kyrie Irving needs to be put in a padded room, with, and just giving a little time away from other people right now, because he is driving myself and NBA fans everywhere crazy. And plus, the only reason why he's doing this is because he wasn't invited to the bubble because he's injured, which makes sense because they want to limit someone who's able to be, they don't want to bring too many people down there. So they're limiting the numbers of who can be down there. And he's upset that he doesn't get to go. So now he's going to create all this havoc and all this, sort of discourse, or, at least try to create this discourse. And it's just like the man is driving me crazy. I am so glad he's not in Boston anymore. But somehow, some way, even when I was at my wit's end with him when he left Boston, he has somehow made it possible for me to be even more fed up and frustrated with him than I already was.
Yeah, I don't believe you. I mean, I do believe you. I agree with you is what I was going to say.
Well, you can believe me or not.
I don't believe it. No, I'm looking at the same stuff you are, so I definitely believe you. Yeah, he's a little off center.
A little. I understand you're trying to be nice, but
I'm trying to be diplomatic.
The man is batshit crazy. The man is batshit crazy. I'm just going to come out and say, I don't care. When you ask your head coach what government means to him because he just says hello to you before a morning meeting, that is not the hallmark of a normally thinking person in my mind.
Okay, but we already knew that Kyrie was a little off center. We already knew he was a lot off center by him just being here for a while. We already knew this. You already knew this. This was not a surprise to me. I just
It wasn't
don't
a
know.
surprise to me either, but it's like being hit over. It's like you get hit over the head once, and then time goes by, and you get hit over the head again. It makes I don't know. It's just I don't know what words to use to describe other than the fact that it's. I just wish he would shut up and go away.
What I have a problem with, Robbie, is not Kyrie Irving. What I have a problem with is why bigger players or LeBron or Steph Curry or some of the other players are not going, you know what? We don't believe what Kyrie believes. Okay? We want to go back and play.
Well, LeBron has said that he wants to go back and play. I mean, LeBron has come out.
He said it early on. Yes, he said it early on, and I agree with that. But he's kind of being, kind of way in the back over here. The best player in the world is not speaking out about this stuff. He spoke out once, and that's it. We haven't heard from him since. So, and this was before they even developed a plan about the bubble. So, speak up, LeBron. That's right. But there are former players that are coming out and bashing Kyrie too, which I think is kind of interesting. Kendrick Perkins had
Perkins can't stand Kyrie. Perkins
a few things to say about him too.
I mean, he was saying stuff about Kyrie when they were actually back playing basketball. Basically calling him out for not coming on the trip to Boston. That one time. Sort of being being a coward, as he put in no uncertain terms. I mean, Perkins just doesn't like Kyrie. Period. End of story.
Yeah, I know. Well, I already knew that anyway.
Yeah.
I just think it's really very interesting that you don't hear more from some other players. The other issue is that this bubble thing. There's a 300-page protocol thing. It's crazy. It's absolutely. I think it's 300. It could be a little less than that, but it's absolutely crazy what these guys have to do. Now, not everybody's going to stay there for 3 to 6 months. Much too much reading. But the protocols are just crazy. They're just crazy. They have to stay in their rooms. I mean, and hopefully a lot of them can play Fortnite or PlayStation. And if you go out of the bubble, you have to be out for 10 to 14 days.
Yeah.
And again, I guess they have to do it this way if we can, have that kind of situation happen. I just think it's, believe me, I am a huge, just like you love MLB, I love NBA. So I want them to come back, whether they have fans or not, and they're not going to have fans,
right?
But I certainly want them to come back. I don't have a problem with them playing in a bubble. I don't care, really where they play. I just want them to play.
Doug would have them play on the moon if it might come. That'd be
as long as we can watch it with the little helmets on. I can care less. Actually, playing on the moon would be a lot safer than playing here now. But it's Mars too. Mars would be good. Venus and Robbie, even Uranus. Sorry. Zero gravity basketball. Excellent. That's a Michael Jordan special right there. Zero gravity.
True.
Yeah, exactly. So I think what it comes down to
you know what they should play? They should play in Looney Tune Land or wherever, And Looney, kind of like
Space Jam.
they should basically play in that gym that they played Space Jam in. That'd be perfect.
That would be interesting, to say the least.
Their crowds would be Looney Tunes.
They are pretty Looney Tuny. Anyway, I think that's something that they're looking at.
Speaking
There's
of
also
Kyrie,
exactly. There are also some NBA coaches that are a little hesitant for the bubble, and there are a whole bunch of players. Not to mention just Kyrie, but there are a whole bunch of players that said that they're not going to attend. They don't want to go. They, for whatever reason, either the virus or what's going on in the world or whatever it is, um, they just don't want to be there. They don't want to be away from their families that long. They're nervous about getting disease. Whatever it is, they're not interested. And there's a handful of coaches that have also said that they have some reservations, and also looking at all that protocol, which is necessary. Get it?
Yeah.
Necessary. Yeah. But looking at all that protocol, they're going, what the heck am I supposed to do over here? I'm going to play some basketball. I have to stay here for 3 months and play PlayStation for 3 months in my room with nothing. But there have been some thoughts that they were going to start out with the protocols and then kind of relax on them as things start to relax a little bit. Unfortunately, what they're seeing is, and I'm not getting political or anything like that or newsworthy because this is a sports show, but there has been a spike in about, I would say, 9 or 10 states, something like that. One of them is Florida. One of them is Orlando. They actually found about 300 people at an airport in Orlando. They said 150 plus were positive with the coronavirus.
Yeah, I saw it, or the employees. It was employees.
Yeah, it was mostly employees. There were some non-employees, but they just worked for the, they work for the airline, or they limousine drivers, whatever. They didn't work for the airline, but they, they go to the airport. So, but it's one of those things. No, I'm not going to stick to sports. But it's one of those things where, I think there's a lot of concern. So, I don't really know what's going to happen. I think they at least are ahead of MLB by having at least.
Everybody's ahead of MLB. I mean, NBA, NHL, MLS. Major League Soccer is ahead of MLB. They've actually said a date that they're coming. The WNBA is ahead of MLB. I mean, I am mad. I am a mad boy. MLB is just, yeah. Well, I already went through all that, but still, I mean, no. All the other sports are. I already went off. All the other sports.
You just went off again.
All the other sports are at least making traction. I mean, the NHL, they're into sort of new training camp, whatever you want to call it. I mean, they're definitely, you got players actually on the ice. The NBA has players back in their team's facilities, getting workouts and stuff like that. I mean,
I actually know what the NHL is waiting for, because they don't have a venue. They have a date.
For the 2 hub cities.
Yes.
One is Vegas, from what we could tell. Now, obviously, I think if what you're about to say is what I think you're going to say, it's that they're waiting on Canada. Yeah, they're waiting on Canada.
Yes. They're waiting on Toronto or Vancouver to loosen the restrictions of yes, it was stolen. Thank you, Robbie. Vancouver or Toronto, Canada, to kind of loosen the restrictions of flying in and out, and that's what they're waiting for. Vegas is going to be one of them.
Enter the country, I think, is the other big thing.
Well, that's what I mean. But loosen the restrictions, meaning that you don't have to quarantine when you come to either country.
Right.
That's the first thing. And the second thing is kind of weird. What they're going to do is, I read some. Am I keeping you up?
Now,
Jeepers creepers! You talk about the MLB and you're all aboard.
Robbie nap time here.
Robbie nap time. There we go. So what they're going to do, Robbie, is they're going to take the whole Eastern Conference,
yeah,
and go to Vegas.
Yeah.
And the Western Conference is going to go up to Canada.
Correct.
So I'm not sure how that's going to help, but that's what their plan is.
Well,
so
I think part of it has to do. The reason why they're doing that is because they do not want. Okay, they do not want in Eastern. They do not want a team to have home ice advantage, and if they have the West in Vegas, then Vegas, who is in the playoff race, and Toronto likewise in the East, they don't want either of those teams having, even though there's going to be no fans, they still don't want either of those teams having a home city
ice
advantage.
Right.
Yeah.
Totally get that. Yep. So that's really the NHL. Thank you for going to that.
I know, yeah. I
was supposed to segue into that, but that's okay.
That's all right. Didn't really need to touch on myself with that anyway, so. Stolkin again, yes. Perfect.
That's not what I was trying to write.
Stolen again, yes.
Stolen again. Stoken.
Yeah.
All right. So basically, as we move through autocorrect sucks. So as we move through the sports, we can start talking about the NFL.
Yeah, some interesting news, or sort of some interesting stuff coming up on the NFL front.
Yeah, Robbie, why don't you tell me what Dr. Fauci is saying about the NFL?
He is expressing his concern over the ability of the NFL to play the 2020 season, just given the fears of a second surge and just all these different worries in regards to the coronavirus. And he basically came out and said that unless the players were kind of like what the NBA is doing, unless the players were put into a bubble, so to speak, that he had some concerns about the league's ability to hold the season. Now, obviously, the NFL has come out and sort of reiterated their point that they're trying everything they can to hold the season as normal. Obviously, they want to be safe about it, but they are still seeming to push ahead with this idea that they're going to be starting the season on time. Now, that remains to be seen whether or not that happens, but I think it is interesting. I mean, obviously, there's still a lot of unknowns about this virus, and as we get sort of further into the summer and into the fall, what kind of is there going to be sort of a even bigger resurgence, around the country and around the world?
And there's starting to be as we open up, but that's to be expected. That's supposed to happen. So,
it's very tough because, there's so much unknown, and, unfortunately, if you take, if you sort of, even with the greatest restrictions and the greatest of ease, or start to go back into normal, so to speak, you do run the risk of sort of those numbers jumping up a little bit. Now, I will say, again, I don't want to get, too political here, but I will say in states like here in Massachusetts and even in New York and stuff like that, we have done a very good job plowing text. Boy, your autocorrect is out to get you tonight, my friend.
It is not helping at all.
But in Massachusetts, yeah, there we go. Politics.
That's better.
Here in Massachusetts, and in a state like New York, which obviously was the epicenter for a while of this pandemic, we have started to reopen up, but we have done a good job of putting restrictions into place and sort of putting guidelines into place, which have actually helped us continue to keep the numbers down even as we've been slowly reopening. The problem is, you're right, in these, states like, Texas and Florida and Georgia, they sort of went in a quicker sort of reopening vacuum, whatever you want to call it. And so now they're paying the price, so to speak. So I feel like, you know, it is doable, and it's interesting because, like, here in Massachusetts and in New York and these other states, not professional, but like youth sports are beginning to actually come back, sort of the end of this month and into next month, and as the summer goes along, obviously with strict guidelines, but at the same time, you know, if you do something the right way, it is possible, and it seems like there is ways that this can be done so that the NFL can begin its season on time and do so safely and correctly. It's just a question of what that's going to look like, and will that happen? It really, obviously, I completely understand where Fauci is coming from. I get it. Obviously, as a sports fan, I hope that he's wrong and that the NFL goes ahead and plays, but there's a lot that's going to go into that. And so right now the NFL is holding the line of, we're going to try everything to play, but at the same time, like with everything that has happened during these last few months, it's sort of a wait and see game. So
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with most of what you said. No, I agree with everything. On the lighter side of the NFL, the Tampa Bay Bucks are actually spending a lot of money on their marketing already.
I know.
We saw Brady in his shirt, which, by the way, I looked away. No, I didn't. I was just kidding. And they're starting to sell the Gronk shirts right now, dude.
By the way, can I just say one thing? I saw this news story
you may
today.
not say anything.
Well, too bad. So I'm going to say that anyway. I saw this news story that I guess in Rhode Island, a brewery in Rhode Island created a beer. I want to say it was called like Fraud Ale or something like that. Basically, it was like making fun of Gronk and Brady, and basically, sort of making fun of them for leaving or something like that. But I thought that was kind of interesting. So
it's called, what is it called again? Fraud?
I forget exactly what it's called. It was something along those lines, but just it was like a brewery created like a very that referenced Gronk and Brady leaving. While you're discussing what you were going to discuss, I can do a little.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say that they've spent a lot of money already on shirts. The shirts are just going crazy down there. I mean, it's
well, the jersey, their
jersey.
new sort of uniform,
jersey.
their new uniform looks too. They've been really sort of hitting all those hard, into the public eye.
Big time, and they're not afraid to do it either because the marketing is going to be down there. So.
Oh, it's called Traderade Smug Brewing in Rhode Island is debuting Traderade beer, which is basically throwing shade at Gronk and Brady. It's actually, they use an old Buccaneers logo. They kind of put a little twist on it. They basically have sort of a Buccaneers outfit on a chicken. So it's kind of like throwing some shade at Brady. The Brady and Gronk smear campaign is really kicked up into high gear here over these past couple of months.
Holy, wow, that's just crazy.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask you an off-the-cuff kind of NFL question.
Go for it.
Been a lot of talk about Stidham, a lot of talk about Hoyer, a lot of talk about whether we're going to grab somebody else. We also have two other quarterbacks that are actually have been signed by the Patriots.
Yeah.
College guys. Um, you think that there's another quarterback in our future other than Stidham and Horn? Because there's been some light talk about some.
Yeah, and one guy in particular still kind of keeps showing up on the radar there.
Who was that?
Mr. Cam Newton.
Yes. Newton.
Newton, Massachusetts.
I typically call it Newton, but that's okay. Some people call it Newton.
Yeah, but
Robbie's from South Wellesley, so that's why he talks.
Wellesley, more like West Wellesley, but the west.
More like West, yeah.
West side. Honestly, if I
West side of
had
East.
exactly, if I had to sort of go one way or the other, I would say I would lean towards no at this point, but at the same time, you never know 100%. But I just don't see it happening right now, especially as we get closer and closer to training camp and the start of the season. But obviously, it's not out of the realm of possibility. I don't feel like anything is ever with knowing Belichick and the way his mind operates sometimes. But I just don't see it happening at this point. But could be wrong.
I have no idea. I just wanted to float it out to you because it was a question we haven't asked in a while, and there's been some rumor out there and some talk. I'm floating, yeah. I'm floating it out there just to see how it floats. Sometimes it floats well, and sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it sinks.
Sink or swim, man.
It's either a sinker or a floater. So typically, sometimes you just don't know.
Yeah.
So I don't have any idea. All I know is that as it comes toward the season, he's going to get cheaper and cheaper. So I don't know. I still think that Stidham's the guy, but again, I have no idea. I have no idea how. No one knows. You're right, Rob. No one knows. I just want sports to start, and then we can actually start talking about the actual sports instead of talking about them trying to start. It's just time, man. It's just time to start this.
Believe me, yeah.
So speaking of that, and I'm not really sure how that segues in, but that's okay. The commissioners. D plus segue. Well, that wasn't too bad. Better than an F. The commissioners and how they're handling all this. Robbie, what do you think? What do you think?
All right, I would say this. I think that the commissioner that's handling this the worst is one Rob Manfred of Major League Baseball. I'm going to just kind of, the way I'm going to do this, I'm going to kind of give you my rankings, sort of, for the big four pro sports, so to speak, with one being sort of the one that's handled the best, four being the worst. I would say number 4 is Manfred, without a question.
Number 4 is?
Number 4, what? Number 4.
One being
handling
it the best.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Sorry,
yeah.
I was.
How to tell my co-host isn't listening to me?
What?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. What?
Yeah, exactly. No, I really can't. I really can't hear you. I'm sorry. Anyway, what I was gonna say, yeah. Oh, there we go. That's better. So I was gonna, just you have the right to remain silent. So Manfred is number 4 for me. I would say, see, this is the tough. This is definitely a tough one for
That's
the other three. I would say all right, I'm going to sort of go on both ends here and then go to the middle. I would say my number one, and again, this is just my honest opinion, and Doug's probably going to completely disagree with me on this, but I would say my number one is Goodell. I would say Goodell is number one. I would say Manfred is number four. In terms of, yes, I do. Yeah, exactly. I'm not even going to repeat what you just said, but yes, exactly.
But I said you like going both ways.
Yeah.
In a conversation.
We're not going to touch that one.
Oh, really? Yeah, there it is.
There we are. All right.
There it is.
We were right here. Here was the track, and we just
we were here, Robbie. We were right here, and then all of a sudden,
we really should have just stuck to sports, but
we just went all the way down here, dude.
Into the mud. Anyway, trying to lift.
We were so close.
Anyway, trying to lift us up some way. I would go Goodell 1 and Manfred 4. In terms of 2, 3, I would say I think I would have to go with Bettman 2, as much as I can't think Gary Bettman. But I'd have to go with Bettman 2 and Silver 3. I think would be my ratings. But it's tough. It's very tough to... The only one that I'm 100% on is that Manfred is number 4. After all this, Rob Manfred literally could not have handled this any worse. And so
still handling
it worse.
It hasn't stopped yet.
No, it's
continuous.
Oh no,
continuous crap.
Even when he seems like he's trying or is like somewhat getting his foot back on the gas there, it goes right back off the road. Because it's like his meeting with Clark could be interpreted as him trying to like get back in control of things. But
yeah, but that was the time to seal it, man. That was the time to seal the deal.
That's what I'm saying. Even him doing that just completely backfired in his face. So. Yeah, I'd say Manfred 4, Seal the DeWall.
I should just stop. My autocorrect is horrible, man.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's really sad. But I think that exactly, seal the deal. That would be my sort of ratings. There would be Goodell, Bettman, Silver, and Manfred. But again, I go on 2 and 3. I sort of go by the day. I sort of go flip flop on those.
Go both ways on that.
Go both ways. Shut up. Anyway, you're not gonna do this.
I just you're the one that did.
All right. You know what? Why don't I put the ball back in your court?
Okay.
And ask you.
Sports reference.
But
have some music with a sports reference. Woo, sports reference. Okay, what?
How would you sort of rate how the respective commissioners have done, and who do you think has sort of done the best? And I'm assuming you agree on who's done the worst, but sort of how would you rate those yourself?
Yeah, Manfred would definitely be number 4.
Yeah.
I happen to think Adam Silver deserves the 1 spot.
Okay. All right.
And the reason is
I think that's very fair, by the way. I think that's very fair to put
definitely,
him up there.
And that's just my opinion, not because I love basketball necessarily, but it's really the way he has handled all of it by really doing a lot of research, a lot of investigating, a lot of trying to write this 4,000 million page protocol. By the way, it's going up as we speak.
It was at 300.
It was at 300.
No,
yeah,
and now it's at a non-existent number.
Yeah, it's like at 4 million right now. 4 million page document, all the protocols, Where are we going to be? We're going to be in the bubble. This is what we're going to do. This is how we're going to do it. These are the protocols. And this is how, this is the start date. Start date. This is what we feel is a good start date. And let's see what we can do about getting everybody back, everybody going. We're going to do testing. This is how we're going to do it. We're going to do it this way, this way. I think he was the best in putting every single thing together and then putting it out there and saying, this is what we're going to do. Now, with all the stuff that's going on, and who knows at this point, but I think he was the best. And then you could kind of interchange 2 and 3 together. I think Bettman, again, 2 and 3 could be interchanged. Bettman and what's his name? The guy who hates the
Goodell.
Goodell. Yeah, Goodell.
That's why for me, honestly, like in my mind, even as I was like trying to like do my ratings on the spot there, like 1, 2, and 3, like continue to get shuffled around for me, like based on the day. I feel like 4 is like set in stone that it's Manfred, but 1, 2, and 3, like I can go like.
Yes, I have 1 and 4.
I can go several ways on 1 through 2.
Right, I have 1 and 4. I actually think, and this is hard for me to say because I can't stand Gary Bettman. Not the greatest NHL commissioner. I happen to think that he's probably number 2 for me, but again, they can be interchanged.
All right, so you and I agreed on 2 and 4. So at least agree on half of our selections.
Yes. I think Bettman was number 2, just because he also had a pretty good plan. What are those numbers? He had
4 million minus the 300 that you added.
3,999,700. What did you get the 700 for?
4 million minus 300 is 3,999,700. I had to double check on my calculator.
You would use a calculator like on the air. Unbelievable.
My phone calculator.
Oh, of course. Yeah, that's not that at all. Anyway.
Excuse me, that's not one. I'm sorry, I can't hear you. Sorry, Doug's connection may have dropped out. But anyway, so yeah, we're just gonna move on here. Y'all are all right. Now you're back. I'm just kidding. I was just playing. But yeah, all you on the video stream, you can probably see Doug just making weird faces because I mean he is weird, so it's okay.
Shutting off my microphone. What am I supposed to do? Getting it like a goofball?
True. Good point.
Don't answer that question.
I mean, you are a goofball, so it's okay.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much. So
okay, Elvis.
So we're really what it comes down to is number 2 spot for me is definitely Bettman, because he actually has a really, really good ideas. He put the ideas together, put the protocols together.
Wait, did you just say that Gary Bettman has good ideas? Did you just say Gary Bettman had good ideas in the same sentence? I
unfortunately did, but if you look at what he's got
it's true.
And what the plan is,
he has his guys back out on the ice, like working out. I mean, he has.
Yes, it's a good plan. He's putting it into action, so I have to give him the number 2 spot. And Goodell, I just can't stand, but it's kind of early. It's a little early to tell what his thoughts are.
That's the tough part is because like the NFL is kind of like in a spotlight period right now where they really wouldn't be doing sort of a whole lot anyway at this.
Right.
At this
not right
point,
now, but
training
camp coming up in August, but still.
No, but I mean, it's like it's
not even there yet. We're a couple months away.
Until we actually get into the time period where they would be doing like serious activities.
Right. No, I totally get that. Totally get that. So, any other thoughts about our sports coming back, Robin? Final thoughts on our sports?
I just want the back. I just really, really want the back. That's all. desperate at this point.
Bobby's been in his room for 90 days, and he's going a
At
little crazy,
least, yeah, a little
stir
crazy.
crazy, and he needs to have his sports. I mean, he's watching NASCAR and soccer
No,
and
well, hold on a second. I haven't watched any
donkey
NASCAR.
racing.
I haven't watched any that. I've watched Korean baseball. I've watched 3 different countries' versions of soccer, and tennis from Florida that was played with no fans in the stands. So
Robbie's actually looking out of his window and actually watching the squirrels race.
well, it's kind of funny. I gotta say this is that
I was kidding, Rob.
No. I haven't been doing that, but you just brought this to mind. No, you just brought this to mind. There have actually a couple of I've seen on YouTube a couple of British sports commentators who have literally been announcing everyday activities because there's no live sports going on. So literally, one of them, he has two dogs, and he was literally announcing his 2 dogs eating their breakfast and like commentating on like it was a race. I mean, it was just, yeah, it's kind of the funniest thing. It was very entertaining. You had Joe Buck, the announcer from Fox, basically taking clips of people's everyday lives and sort of doing his own commentary on them. So I mean, the sports announcers have actually been attempting at least to try to sort of make the most of this difficult situation of no live sports. It has been very interesting to see how some of them have handled it.
Yeah, actually, I don't know if you saw it or heard it, but if you should be able to find it somewhere. It may just have been on sports radio, and I'm not sure where they got it off of. Could have been Twitter. I'm not sure where. I don't think they said where it was from. But they had basically they had Joe Castiglione. He had his wife was cooking one night, cooking some Italian food, and he was actually doing the play-by-play, and it was phenomenal. It was so good.
Well, I think the guy that does the games with him, the other radio guy, sort of did the same thing. Is that he was announcing sort of like him cooking or something like that, or just like announcing his everyday life activities.
That's right. They're just trying to keep in the game, man. They're just trying to keep fresh.
Keep your head in the game, man.
Thanks. So
yeah, you can't mute me.
I know I can't mute. So yeah, I mean, just
I can mute you. So there we go. Yeah, so, there you go again. And I can unmute you. So I have the power.
Done.
Yes, I am. Yes.
Just checking to see if you're done fooling around with my mute button.
It's so much fun though.
Yeah, I know, but it's just one of those things where, I don't know. Anyway, any final thoughts on kind of what we just talked about? Anything from the commissioner to the NFL, NBA? Any final thoughts?
In terms of commissioners, I feel like just rating them like that sort of gives you a sense of how we feel about how they've handled things. So I don't think they're really on my end, at least. There's a lot more that needs to be said on that.
I totally agree with that.
Yeah,
I totally agree with that. So right now, Robbie, I think what we're going to do is we are going to go to our final thoughts for the evening.
Favorite part of the show.
Yeah, we're going to do our final thoughts. So Robbie, yep. So, excellent. So Robbie, what is your final thought for the evening?
So my final thought is that speaking of sports coming back, there has been a basketball tournament that has sort of taken off over the last few years called the basketball tournament, because of course it is. And basically what it is that, exactly, yeah, it's such a great name. I mean, it just really gets right to the point. But basically what it is that it's there are teams of former college players from all different schools. You had guys from Syracuse, Purdue, Ohio State, just to name a few. And they basically compete as teams in this winner-take-all tournament, and the winning team gets $1 million. And it's pretty wild. Yes.
$1 million.
Yes. They thank you, Austin Powers villain, who I'm completely forgetting the
Powers.
What's the name of the villain? I always forget his
Evil.
name. It is Dr. Evil. Okay, that's what I thought. That's what I like.
That's your nickname.
Yeah, really. No, my nickname's Rob Dog, man. What up? For the west side, for the west side of Wellesley.
West side of Wellesley.
No, Peter on the push there.
Oh my God.
I just noticed that. Yeah. So, no, it really is. It's a fun tournament. A lot of, even though the players are no longer for the most part playing professionally or whatnot. It really is some actually exciting basketball in this time where we're sort of desperate for live sports. It actually, it has provided some excitement, sort of the build up to it actually occurring. It's going to be occurring in Columbus, Ohio, beginning July 4th. It's going to be 24 teams, and like I said, winner take all, winner getting $1 million. I didn't do that right at all, but
not even close.
It's a pinky. Pinky, yeah. So, no, it's just very exciting. It's interesting because they have this, the way they actually do the games is they do, the first 3 quarters are usual time. I think it's 8 minutes. But then for the fourth quarter, they play half of the fourth quarter, and then they stop the clock at like 4 minutes left and do what's called the Elam ending, which is basically you take the highest score. Look it up. It's called the Elam ending, and basically you take the highest score, the team that's winning score, and you add a certain number to it, and then that is the score that you have to get to in order to win the game. So let's say, hypothetically speaking, that at that point I was winning,
basketball and G-ball put together.
Yeah, basically, if I was winning 81, if I was winning 81 to 73, at that time juncture of the game, and you were saying that the Elam ending score was 17 points, basically you would add 17 to 81, and you would be 98 would be the score that you would have to get to.
I know, but who decides on that number? The Elam number.
They that's the rules that they use. I don't know.
Who decides on number 17? Could it be 22?
It could be anything.
But how do they decide on that number?
I don't know, Doug.
All right, man.
I don't know. I know. I said I
just
don't
asking. Know. No, I know you don't know, but I thought that you knew. You're watching something that you have no idea how they come up with the rules.
I have not researched it as in depth as maybe I should. But anyway,
and I just didn't know.
Thank you. But yeah, so like I said, it's something that is coming up that I'm looking forward to. And if you've never watched the tournament, it might, just flip on a game, because there actually is some very exciting basketball. And
did you mention where is it being played?
Columbus, Ohio.
Oh,
and again, you're not listening to me.
I never listen to you. But what is?
We actually don't listen to each other on the show. We just talk.
These aren't obviously professional, right?
What?
These aren't professional basketball players. These are
No, no,
college,
they are.
college guys.
They're former college. They're former college.
Former college players.
Yeah. Yeah. Some of the guys did play pro at one point, but then just were not good enough to make. Yeah, I know. It's sort of the B league, the B level guys.
The B.
Yeah.
The B level.
So just wanted to sort of throw my endorsement of the basketball tournament, and that's what I got for today's final thoughts. So Doug,
Yes.
what now that you're actually listening to me?
I'm sorry. What?
Yeah. Anyway, we're actually just gonna sign off for the day. We don't need to listen to Doug's final thought. We're just gonna sign off. No, Doug? What is your final thought for as we wrap up episode 43?
My final thoughts are: you get so upset sometimes. It's funny. All right, so I'm just joking around. My God.
I know you're just joking around. All right, I'm just playing along.
He's playing along. Okay, so my final thought is that this past Tuesday.
Are you sure it was Tuesday? Are you sure it was a Monday or Wednesday?
It was Tuesday.
Okay, just making sure.
Thanks. I have it right here. So I actually did my research on this. So this past Tuesday, NBA Hall of Famer Wes Unseld passed away, unfortunately, 74 years old. And he played his whole 13-year career with the Washington Bullets. He says he never played pretty, but you didn't want to pick from him. If you were coming and he saw you and gave you a pick, you're going to end up on the ground. This guy was an undersized center, but he was built, boy. He entered the Hall of Fame in 1988. And let's see. He unfortunately has had some health issues just recently and just developed pneumonia. And was just recently named under the top 50 greatest players in the league. And he was 74 years old, so obviously our thoughts and prayers from the Sports Blitz goes out to his family.
Rest in peace.
Thoughts and prayers out to his family. I have seen him on some. I never watched him in person, but I've seen him on TV, on some old games and stuff like that. He was one of those undersized guys who they said would never be a center and never could play, and really proved him wrong big time. So he was a great player, and again, thoughts and prayers go out to his family.
Definitely.
The Sports Blitz.
Definitely. Oh, without a doubt. Rest in peace, Wes.
Yep, absolutely. So that's it. That's all we got tonight.
Yeah.
This is the Sports Blitz.
We got some exciting stuff coming up.
We do.
And definitely.
We do. We have some surprise guests possibly appearing. Yeah. We'll have Kyle back for our continuation of the sports movies. I was just gonna say we kind of teased it last time. It's gonna happen. A very special surprise guest is definitely gonna be happening in the. We're not gonna tell them who it is though.
No, definitely not. Not saying who it is, but definitely keep your eyes out for the next, either next episode or the episode after that, because it's gonna be a good one.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We're always thinking about ideas that we can use on the Sports Blitz, especially now. Please send us ideas. Please send us ideas.
Please, we're begging.
We're begging you. We're begging you, please. But we do have some things that we do on the Sports Blitz that we do all the time. We just want to, and we just want to make sure that you know what those things are. We do change our name, so if you watch us on YouTube. We do change our name on the YouTube, so something funny, something silly. We actually started last week with Kyle. It was pretty funny. Cool. We also do a Zoom chat talk, what I call Zoom chat talk, which is Robbie and I are chatting during the episode.
Yeah, that's why.
And
That's why if you just hear us like say random,
yeah,
things,
random thoughts. If you hear us say randomly, like different things, it's from the chat, and
Yeah.
typically they're pretty funny. But we're also going to start a segment, which we started a few weeks ago, but I'd like to continue doing it, and it's called "What If." And it doesn't necessarily have to do with sports, but it could be with. We're doing it mainly for sports, but we started a few weeks ago, and then of course we do our final thoughts, and our final thoughts of the day and of the episode. So right now, if you have any
trying to
ideas,
find final thoughts on these past few episodes has probably been some of the toughest, like just sort of brain, like just sort of like it's been very, very tough.
I'm typically, yeah, I know they're tough now because it's there's not a lot of sports out there right now at all.
Right.
But final thoughts are typically something that we can kind of throw out there. Sometimes it's not sports related.
Yeah.
Robbie does a lot of college sports and high school sports final thoughts, which are great. We got some really fantastic episodes coming up. So I know Robbie and I haven't talked about it, but I'd like to do some high school and college sports.
Yeah.
Talk about those that are coming up. We do have a guest that we're working on getting on, a surprise guest.
Yeah.
It's going to be a great episode. You cannot miss
that. So excited for that one.
We're going to have Kyle again for our second, I would believe, it's kind of episode number 2 of the sports movies. And if you watch last week's episode, it was phenomenal. It was so fun.
Oh, yeah.
It was great. It's really long, but believe me, it's fun. You'll get through it.
If you have 2+ hours of your
right,
day,
and let me tell you, you probably do, because if you're hanging out
like
in the rock or in a cave,
go back.
Great time.
Watch the episode, then go back under your rock or your cave.
Great time to watch. So right now, that's it for Robbie. I'm Doug. This is the Sports Blitz. We will see you next time.
Bye, everybody.